All right, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Southwest Airlines Flight 111. This is Captain Jack. We're getting ready to load passengers, so everybody stand by one, please. Go ahead and board your seats and make sure to stow away your luggage, and we'll get started here in just a moment. Tonight we're going to be flying from KDEN Denver to KMCI Kansas City. And great to see those of you who have joined us already. Got a couple of things yet to do here, so we'll get started with finishing boarding passengers and getting everything ready to go. Welcome aboard. All right, well, it's great to see everybody tonight. Welcome aboard once again. Yep, Captain Jack here. We are ready to fly to Kansas City in just a few minutes, but as usual, we need to go through setting up our flight plan, so we'll go ahead and get that started here as we get the 737 started up and ready to go tonight. Passengers are on board. Fueling has been completed. So let's go ahead and get our setup done here for flying on to Kansas City. So we're going to go ahead and hit the return button here, and we're going to go to the menu. We're going to go to the flight management computer. We're going to clear that. Our position initial point is, of course, KDEN Denver. So we'll go ahead and enter that into the FMC. Now we're going to go ahead and that again one more time as the origin. The destination tonight is going to be KMCI, and for the company route, we need to go ahead and put in KDEN KMCI. All right, we'll get that loaded into the company route. Our call sign tonight is going to be Southwest Airlines, flight 111, and we are going to pull up VATSIM here in just a couple of minutes too, so we'll do that. But let me hit activate there and execute. We'll go to our initial or performance initialization here. We'll get our zero fuel weight tonight, which is 121.7. Fuel. The flight plan is calling for 13,800 pounds of fuel, so we'll go ahead and enter in 13.8 and put that in the planned fuel. Flight plan is telling us our fuel reserves are 2,100 pounds of fuel, so we'll go ahead and enter that in there. Our cost index, which tells us basically how fast we're going to be flying per the passenger load, is set at 23 tonight. That'll go in the cost index there. All right, let's see other information that we're going to need. Let's go ahead and flight plan and check at our top of be from a heading of 210 at 34 knots at top of climb altitude. So that into the FMC if it'll take it. All right. Try that one more. So 210 at 34034. There we go. 0 in. Well, our cruise wind is not entering. All right. Not sure what's going on there. We'll take care of that in just a minute. Outside air temperature at altitude should be plus 3 degrees. Let's go ahead and clear that out. Why my cruise wind is not entering? Oh, I see, because I haven't what the cruise altitude is going to be. So go ahead. Pick up. We're going to be cruising at flight level 370 or 37,000 feet. So now it's going to let us in. Back. Let me 210 at 034. So 210 at 034. Hey, there we go. It took it that time. All right. And execute that at our N1 limit. We're going to go ahead and select a temperature for derating of the engines of 32. That normally works there. Takeoff, we're going to use flaps 5, of course. And so that enters in. We'll get our center of gravity, which is 17.5. So we'll need to set the takeoff trim for, let's see, let me go back. What did he tell me? 6.8. So we'll go ahead and we'll roll up the trim wheel here to 6.8. It'll take us just a minute to get there, but all right, there we go. We've got our trim set to 6.8. All right, let's see. What else have we got here? Let's see. I need to adjust a couple of flight instruments, so let me do that real quick. We'll go those where I am. There we go. That's up. Over here. Once again, want to welcome you. Glad you're here. Jay, good evening. Welcome. Graham, glad to have you guys back. Good to see you. Looks like I've got 5 total viewers so far. Go ahead and let me know who you are. Say hello in the chat window. I'd really appreciate that. And we'll get on with the flight programming here, and then we're going to go through the system checklist. So let's just go ahead and get everything in here that we want at this moment. So before we set our takeoff reference speeds, we're going to want to go to our departure. We're going to depart from Denver. Let's see. There's one that I do need to bring up. Pilot is there. I don't really have any controllers looking at Denver right now. So I do know that the altimeter is set for 2988. I listened to the ATIS just a moment ago, and we've got that set. And because we're going to Kansas City, we're going to go ahead and take off from runway 08, which I think is what the flight plan told me. So that, everybody. Okay, yeah, so we're going to take off from runway 08. We're going to use a standard instrument departure of ME's, let's see, ME's 8. So that's locked in now and no transition, although the flight plan is telling us there is a transition, but we'll go ahead and use none at this point, and we'll hit execute there. We're going to go to our arrival airport, which is Kansas City, KMCI. We're going to use an ILS approach to 01 right, runway 0 run white, right, with a star standard terminal approach procedure of Johnson 1. So there we go, and the flight plan is telling us that we're going to use a transition of D peak. So we'll go ahead and enter that in. Then we're going to go ahead and go to our legs page, and we're going to check for any discontinuities or any other vectors that may be in there. So there's a vector. We're going to go ahead and clear that vector out, and we'll be proceeding on to smoke. smoke the waypoint, not smoke the cigarette. And we'll be landing on runway 01 right. Brian, good evening. K6SKI is there. Glad to see you checking in with us tonight. I will be trying to recognize everybody on the chat here just as often as I can. And if you have any questions or anything, I will be glad to answer those questions. So we'll get ready. Let's see. We've got to go through the rest of the checklist. So right now, let's see. We've got that ready to go. All right. That all looks good. Legs look good. I'm going to go other FMC here, and the first officer's FMC, and we're going to check a couple of things there. We're going to go ahead and I believe at this time we're going to go through the rest of the checklist. So let's do that real quick. Okay, parking brake is set as we go through the standard checklist here. Parking brake will go. Yeah, there we go. Parking brake is set. Battery is on, standby power is on, ground power is on. Check the ground power voltage. The airplane is up, so we see 402 volts in the ground power up there. That's good. Let's see. I know that the navigation is already set up, so we're ready for that. All the rest of these lights are on. We'll give ourselves a beacon. Navigation and strobe lights, they are up and ready to go. Window heat, I turned on. Let's see. No, we need to turn the window heat on. Let's go ahead and follow the checklist. All right. Window heat is on at this time. Probe heat, we're going to go ahead and set the probe heat because it will be cold at altitude. We don't need on the engine hydraulic electric pumps are off. The engine electric pumps are on. Or actually, I said that backwards. The hydraulic pumps are on. The electric hydraulic pumps are off. Fuel pumps are all off at this time, except we will start the ATU here in just a minute, or the APU, I should say. In this aircraft, we don't have trim air to set. Fuel is loaded. Let's go ahead and set our cruising altitude, both in the pressurization to 37,000 feet. Very good. That's good there. We'll go ahead and set our altitude here, our cruise altitude, unless ATC decides to come on and give us something different, will be 37,000 feet. So we'll dial that up on the master control panel here. All right, that's good. We're going to go ahead and flip the flight directors on. All right, let's see. All right, Brian, Graham, and Jay, you have checked in on the chat window. Good evening, guys. Good to have you here tonight. All right, let's see. Once again, where are we in the checklist? Okay, we're going to go to the overhead panel. We're going to go ahead and make sure that the PAX, which is the air conditioning and air pressurization system, is off for engine start. And we're going to go ahead and come down here now, and we're going to start the APU. So I'm going to give the APU. All right, and we're flipping the APU on here. We're going to wait for a starting ready light, which will appear here in just a moment, and then we'll flip on the APU bleed switch up in this corner of the panel. All right, there we go. We're going to go ahead and flip on the APU bleed. So that is on. The APU will start when the exhaust gas temperature, it will come up to a peak point, and then it'll come back down, and it'll tell us that we're ready for APU generator. Hi, Lucas. Hi, Lucas. Glad you're watching, man. How you doing, my little guy? My grandson, Lucas, first class passenger. This is an economy flight, but there you go. Lucas is a first class passenger. How about that? All right, the APUs are on, and we're waiting for the EGT to settle here, so let's let that settle just a little bit and wait till we get a blue ready light for the APUs here. And there we go. So now we're going to switch over to APU Gen. I think, let me check something here real quick. All right, I'm going to need to headphone up here. So the APU is up and running. We'll check the APU Gen, and sure enough, that looks good. We're at 402 volts, 32 amps, and generating 24 volts for all the systems as is proper. All right, so that's good. Pre-flight. Flight directors are on auto throttle. Let's go ahead and check the auto throttle here. It is in the off position. That's good. We're going to need to set our takeoff speed for V2 plus 15. So we'll go back to the other FMC. Let's change up back here. We got to go back here. Got to go to the FMC. And the takeoff speeds. All right, let's generate the takeoff speeds. So our V2 plus 15 is going to be 151. So we'll go ahead and set that here in the speed director. I know we're taking off on runway 08, so I'm going to go ahead and set the course up here. I'll get the precise setting in just a minute, but most of the time, as I remember, it's 082 for Denver for the position that we're at. So we'll go ahead and set 082 in. All right, that all looks good. We're going to preset our runway heading. Everybody make sure that your seat belts are fastened, your seat backs and tray tables are in the upright position. Make sure that all your electronics, of course, are in airplane mode. All right, seat belts, that's already been on, and we'll go ahead and hit the 10 button. All right, so we're set there. Altitude is set. Now we need to do a reset fuel rate. That looks good. Our minimums are going to be set to radio, so for both the pilot, the captain, and the first officer, so that looks good. All right, everything is set there at this point. So now we want to make sure landing gear switch is down. Speed brake lever is off. I'm doing that down here to my lower right. So let me go ahead and bring up the full camera here so you can kind of see what I'm doing in that regard. So speed brake is off. Flaps are up. We're ready for engine start. Gears are down and locked, and we do show 3 green on there. So that's all very good. All right, that part of the checklist is complete. And when we get to that point, we go and set the yaw damper. I already pre-did that, so that one is set. So now we're more or less ready to call for a clearance. At this point, let me take a look and see if somebody's come up. Okay, right now, so VATSIM does not show anybody there. So what we're going to do is make our own plan. So we're going to taxi via Echo Delta to M on, I should bring this up on little nav map so you can see it. Let's go ahead and do that. Since we don't have an ATC here, let me go ahead and bring this up so you can see this part of the flight plan. All right, here we go, and I will switch that over so that you can see it. All right, here's our airplane parked at gate C49 in yellow, and we're going to take a straight out pushback. We're going to make a left turn, and we're going to head across the tarmac. We're going to go to Echo Delta, taxiway Echo Delta. We'll turn left on taxiway M, and we'll go ahead and get a hold short at runway 08, and we'll see where we are by that point. So I'll go ahead and pull that over this way, bring you full up into the flight deck, and let's see, what I want to do first is I want to go through the engine start. So we're going to go ahead and give ourselves full fuel. Get my tongue untangled there, we'll be all right. Once again, we're on APU Gen. We'll wait for engine start to bring on the engine generators. We're going to go ahead and get our electric hydraulic pumps on and ready once again. The packs are off. The APU bleed is on. APU is on. We are ready for main engine start. So if I had a controller here in the Denver area, through VATSIM, what I would do at this time is I would go ahead and key Denver Tower, Southwest 111. We are ready for pushback, engine start, and taxi. We have information, whatever it would be at this point. I know our altimeter is 2998, And before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm going to go ahead and set that 2988. One thing that I can do, because there is no controller at this point, is I can go ahead and dial up a Unicom frequency, which in this case is 122.88. So let me do that. I'll dial that up in my radio here, 122.88. And I'll check to make sure the frequency is not in use. I don't hear it at this time. Southwest 111 at gate C49, ready for taxi back for destination to runway 08 via Echo Delta and taxiway M Mike. Southwest 111. Okay, and looking at little nav map over here, I do see that there are some other aircraft that are coming through the VATSIM system here. But right now, nobody is in my way, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready for pushback. We'll go ahead and bring up the FMC once again. And we'll set for pushback. Okay, APU is started. We're on the gens there. I just wanted to make sure because last week I had removed the chocks and turned the airplane off. We don't want to do that. So I think we're set and ready to go. So we can remove the chocks. They are done. We're going to use a push out straight out, and we're going to call our tug now. And we're going to, actually, I'm going to stop the tug for just a moment, and I'm going to go ahead before I do that and remove the jetway. So let's get rid of the jetway here so we can release that. Then we can go outside and make sure the jetway is going to release. Okay, the baggage cart is going away. That's good. Okay, there goes the jetway. You got to get these things all in sequence, right? Jay asked, this can be multiplayer. As a matter of fact, this past weekend, Jay, my friend Jeremy and I, he was in California. I was here in Denver, of course, linked up together and flew up the Arkansas Valley here in town. So that was pretty cool. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the chocks. We are now ready for pushback. So let's go ahead and call our tug. And the tug is there. Okay, he just asked me to take the brakes off, so we'll take the brakes off. All right, we are rolling back, so now I'm going to go ahead and go for engine start on engine number 2. Okay, engine number 2 in 1 is spooling up. That looks good. When it gets to 25, we'll go ahead and introduce fuel by raising up the fuel injection lever there. All right, she's spooling up nicely. Looking good. Hey, by the way, guys, if you haven't smashed that thumbs up button, I sure would appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and start up engine 2. All right, engine 2 is starting. Okay, pushback is complete. All right, thank you, guys. I hope you got to hear that where they did all the procedure there. That's pretty cool. All right, the aircraft is clear, and we're going to go ahead and bring up Unicom Denver, Southwest 111, departing gate C49 for Echo Delta, Mike, runway 08, Southwest 111. Okay, we'll get started here. Let's go through the taxi checklist. All right, we've got to, of course, bring the engine generators online. So let's do that. Engine gens, engine gen left. All right, we've got a malfunction there for some reason. Okay, I know what that was. I've got to go ahead and spool us up there. You're not getting any audio apart from me. Okay, Graham. Hi. No, you can say hi. No, hijack during a flight. I don't know, Jared. NorCal engineer is on. Graham, you're not getting any audio apart from myself. Okay, let me check something here. Okay, Graham, very good. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, that pot has to go up on the aux 2 on the mixer there. You should be hearing engine sounds now. You know, you guys are kind of helping me through some of my shakedown cruises here, so I appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and turn the air conditioning system on, the isolation valve to auto. All right, that's looking good. Now we can go ahead and get the second engine gen on. All right, that is on and operating properly now. It always helps when you give the aircraft fuel, right? And with that, we can go ahead and get rid of the APU bleed. We don't need that. And the APU off. All right, pre-taxi checklist is complete. All right, we're going to set the flaps to flaps 5. And we'll watch that come up on the flaps indicator here. And actually, what's really cool is I hope you can hear that sound now. That sounds just like the flaps going down in a real airplane. It's so cool. Okay, flaps are set for takeoff, flaps 5. No, nothing from the tower yet, Graham. Right now, there is no ATC operating out of Denver. We're having to simulate that ourselves here. Okay. Okay, and once again, we do not have a controller for tower, ground, or clearance delivery approach departure here in Denver. Hopefully, we'll pick some of that up as we get closer to Kansas City. But in that case, I would go ahead and say Denver Tower, Southwest 111, ready for taxi via Echo Delta, Mike to runway 08. And then they would come back and say, okay, Southwest 111, you are clear for taxi. So let's get started. All right, here we go. Got to make that turn to the left. Oh, and I want to tell you, too, is we see this cloud cover over Denver. That is extremely accurate. That's exactly what's going on. We've got some pretty heavy thunderstorms in Denver as we depart here. All right, we'll go ahead and continue taxi. Okay, normally you want to taxi at absolutely no faster than 20 miles an hour. And right now we're doing 13. Okay, our departure time is right on about what I was expecting. One other thing to do at this time, let's go ahead and get our transponder on. Since they didn't give us a frequency to squawk, we'll just use what we've got. Now we're entering Echo Delta. Okay, no other traffic. We're looking good. Go ahead and proceed left here on Mike. Yeah, we're going to be outrunning this very realistic weather. That's really cool. Hey, something that I might ask you guys to do there in the chat window, what's your favorite airline? I'd like to know. I have to admit Southwest is probably my favorite, but I also really like United, but it seems like in Flight Simulator I end up flying more Southwest jets than anything. Of course, I got a hat for Southwest, I got a hat for United, used to have one for Frontier. Hate Frontier, but anyway, there you go. So yeah, let me know in the chat window, what's your favorite airline? What do you fly most of the time? I'd be really interested to know. And we're continuing the taxi on out to runway 08 for a due east departure. That'll be kind of cool. We'll be heading right for Kansas City immediately. My darling daughter-in-law, Jessie, says the cheapest. I get you there. Yeah, let's see. Jay says anything that operates out of Laramie. All right, there you go. I like those signs going up Interstate 25. there that say, you know, if you flew out of Cheyenne, you'd already be home up there when I drive up to Wyoming to go to a transmitter site. Pretty funny. Yeah, I'm really kind of disappointed. There's nobody operating VATSIM ATC tonight. I thought there was going to be more people actually operating that than has seemed to have been. So, well, it is what it is, right? Okay, we're coming up on our hold point here at runway 08. So we're going to go through a couple of checklist items now. All right, engine start switches. Those go to continuous. All right, engine start switches to continuous. Auto brake is going to be RTO. And that's so we don't slip and slide around on the runway. So the auto brake is set, as you see, and its warning light went off. Okay, runway turn lights are off. Position lights are in strobe standby. Landing lights, we'll go ahead and turn those on. Okay, landing lights are on. Taxi lights are off. We're going to go ahead and do the runway turnoff, though, just let you be a little more visible. Okay, ATC and TCAS is set. We did that a minute ago. The heading bug is on the runway direction, which is 082. We can see that here in the MFD. We're lined up with the runway. We're about to turn right on to the runway. And the heading bug, okay, LNAV and VNAV. We'll go ahead and turn those on. Our lateral and vertical navigation systems are on and armed. Okay, I think since there's not much more traffic, we'll go ahead and do this. Denver Tower, Southwest 111. We're ready for takeoff at runway 08. And they would come back and say, Southwest 111, give us a heading of the wind and the velocity, and say you're clear for takeoff, runway 08 straight out. All right, and I would go back and read back that, and we would go ahead and take off. So, let's see, Graham says in the UK, normally British Airways, or when they were over in Boston, Iceland. Oh, Iceland Air, yeah, I've heard they're really good. All right, let's go ahead and move on up and get on the runway, and we'll do what we call a turn and burn. All right, my engines are at about 50%. All right, everybody, get ready for takeoff here. Okay, we're going to hit TOGA. TOGA stands for takeoff, go around. Airspeed is alive. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to set the clock. There we go. 80 knots. 80 knots, checked. V1, rotate. E2. Positive rate of climb. Gear up. Now, normally when a pilot is flying a takeoff like this, he is watching the PFD there on your lower left, looking for the crosshairs of the magenta lines. And we're climbing at about a 15%. No, actually, we need to come up a little bit. All right, there we go. Yeah, 15%. Okay, now that we've hit 160, we're going to bug the speed up. And we're going to keep climbing right there. All right, we got an N1 indication on the PFD. PFD is, once again, that instrument just to the right of the clock is what I'm watching right now. And I'm keeping my aircraft centered on the magenta lines as best as possible. I'm manually flying the aircraft out. Okay, we hit the airspeed of 190. I can come up to flaps 1. Okay, and there's 210, and I can totally retract flaps. Jay, this is a Boeing. This is a 737. 737-700 to be exact. Okay, we're getting a bit of throttle back there as we're hitting 250. You have to hold 250 miles an hour or less below 10,000 feet. We're coming through 9,600 feet at this time. Okay, 10,000 feet, landing lights going to go off. And we're going to go ahead and engage the autopilot. So Command A, and I take my hands off the wheel. All right, let's reset part of the systems here in the aircraft. Auto brake off. Landing lights are off. We just did that. Altimeter setting when we reach 18,000 feet, we'll hit for standard. And we're coming through 10,600 feet at 290 knots. Looking real good. Looking real good. Oh, it was a general question. Jay says, which is better, the Airbus or the Boeing? You know, it's going to be who you talk to primarily. Boeing, the company's been having an awful lot of problems lately. If you read about them, there's all kinds of things since they had the 737 MAX incidents. That they have had some real pains to go through. So right now, you know, I have not flown the Airbus yet. I have not learned all its systems like I have the 737 700 and 800 series, and even the 900. They're very similar. One thing that is of note is that there's a lot of Airbus product coming out for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's very, very good. I actually should say that I have done some practice flying in the 730s or in the Airbus, and it's a very smooth airplane. It's very, very cool. All right, let's take a look out the right-hand window here. Very pretty, very realistic looking. The plains of Colorado, the mountains in the background. We're leaving the clouds and some of the stormy weather that's over Colorado right now. There's a lot of stormy weather to the northeast, and they tell us here tomorrow that we're going to be getting severe thunderstorms in the afternoon. If I can get back from work in time, I may try to fly back from Kansas City or maybe Albuquerque into Denver and see if I can encounter some of that some of that weather that might be a little rough. Let's see if I can find somebody's center control here. Center Southwest 111 coming through 16,600 feet. Okay, nobody on that frequency. Let's see what else I can find. Yeah, Graham, the turbulence in this thing is very realistic. As a matter of fact, they just upgraded the software with some updates just recently, and it's made the turbulence really very, very realistic. And I'm telling you, man, that's what eastern Colorado looks like from the air as you're taking off to the east. That is really, really just so amazing. The mountains and the haze in the background, it's fantastic. All right, let me see if I can find another frequency here and see if somebody will show up in that sound. Center Southwest 111, flight level 195. Is anybody monitoring this frequency? Center Southwest 1111, is anybody monitoring this frequency? All right, nobody's monitoring that, so let's see what our progress will tell us on our arrival time. All right, it's telling us that we're going to get to Kansas City in just about an hour. Should be landing at 0223. And it's 17 minutes after the hour here, so I should be landing in Kansas City at about 8:23. Once again, want to welcome you to my second live stream here. I do this just for fun. I thought you guys might enjoy it. Welcome to Captain Jack Air. We'll call it that. How about that? I want to welcome Jay, Graham, of course, my little grandson, Lucas. Lucas is watching, and his mama, Jessie. And let's see, Jeremy, NorCal engineer, is here. And let's see who else is in the list. If you're on there, Brian, yeah, you're sitting in first class tonight. Good deal. Just come on up to the flight deck here, Brian. I'll let you sit in the jump seat. How about that? Actually, you're all in the jump seat tonight. If you're watching and you haven't checked in on the chat window, go ahead and let me know who you are and where you are. That would be a lot of fun to get to acknowledge you. And we'll continue on our flight. Had a pretty smooth getting everything together there in the beginning down gate C49 in Denver. Not sure which gate we're going to be going to here at Kansas City, but we'll determine that in a little while. All right, we're coming through 26,000 feet. Real jet engine sounds there. There you go. You ever noticed how eastern Colorado and Kansas looks to be a whole lot of nothing? Oh, man. Yeah, it's going to be a good flight. I tell you what, everybody, when I hit our cruise altitude here in just a little while, Captain Jack's going to run up and get something to drink, see one of the stewardesses. We don't call them that anymore, do we? They're flight attendants, I guess. I'm my own flight attendant. I'm my own first officer. I'm my own everything on board one of my flights there. So glad to have you all on board. Let's see. Graham says, send some of that sunshine over the pond, Jack. We need it. Graham, so nice to have you watching there in England. Now, what is that doing? No idea why that just popped up. So let's get rid of that. All right. Yeah, weird things happen in Windows. I actually had a difficult time getting the simulator started this evening for some reason. It kept putting the airplane back on the back tarmac, back over where if we had D gates, the D gates would be. And I do not know what happened. It was really, really weird, but I had to restart the computer a couple of times to get ready for the stream here this evening. All right, once again, we are coming through 28,600 feet. Smooth flight so far. See if we can pick up Memphis Center. Memphis Center, Southwest 111, coming through 29,500 feet. Requesting flight following at this point, if anybody's listening. All right, Memphis Center can't hear us either. One other tool that I have at my disposal is a tool called VATSPY, so we'll bring that up on this monitor, then I'll pull it over to the main monitor that I can show you. Okay, so if we pull VATSPY up, here's our map, and you can see, let's see, there's a couple of guys still in Denver, and here's Southwest 1111, you see it says me. And we're on the way to Kansas City. And it does not look like we have any controllers at MCI right now either. So may not get to demonstrate that very well here. You can also look around this map and see who else may be flying. A gentleman named Kenneth, who is from Atlanta, evidently. In our names in VentSim, it will put your home airport. Mine, of course, being KDEN. Kenneth is from KATL Atlanta, and he's flying from Atlanta to Seattle, Tacoma. Now you can see here in Chicago, there's an awful lot of stuff going on. There's ground control, there's tower, and there's approach departure control. I really expected that VATSIM was going to have a little more activity. It was fun the other day when the guys were on, and I was talking to the ATC. Really enjoyed that. Coming through 32,800 feet. Okay, Graham, you're in Scotland. I apologize. Well, I didn't know right off, so now I do. Welcome. Glad to have you aboard. Okay, well, maybe by the time we get to Kansas City, we might have a controller come in. That would be a lot of fun. We'll go ahead and go back to our Unicom frequency, see if anybody's around. Now, in real life, these guys are talking to air traffic control all the time. Okay, Unicom, Southwest 1111 in transit for Kansas City. coming through 34,500 feet. Okay, it looks like our top of climb is about 20 minutes, or 20 miles, I should say, away. And right now, we're passing over Ray, Colorado, according to my map here. So let's, yeah, there's Ray, right below the aircraft. Right off the vertical stabilizer on the rear there. Very cool. Somebody let me know if you hear the little ding-dong here. Let me know if you hear it. It's pretty low still. I may have to turn some more of the aircraft sounds up. Yeah, Jay says Kansas is flatter than a pancake. But Jay, I'll tell you something. If you want to see something flatter than a pancake, go to Montana. I tell you, me and a buddy of mine rode motorcycles through eastern Montana. All right, we're coming up on the top of a climb. I'm sure you heard that. Through eastern Montana for a day or two last year, and I have never felt such desolation, such isolation, such remoteness as that. As a matter of fact, I told my friend Paul, I said that eastern Montana made western Kansas look overpopulated. All right, another 500 feet. We are at top of climb. You can see where I'm watching that here on the main flight display. I'm looking for that TC. That line tells me, the green line tells me where the top of climb is. All right, we're at top of climb at 37,000 feet. All right, at that point then, I am going to go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off. And there we go. I thought, tell you what, when I got to top of climb, I'm going to go get a drink of water. So Lucas, hang on. I'm going to go get a pilot drink, and we'll continue on. Once again, we're due to land in about, 53 minutes. All right, I'll be right back. Everybody enjoy the view. All right, back in the chair here. Jay says, I have been to Montana. I respect the mountains there. You have not been to the east side. It's makes Kansas look, I won't say almost mountainy, but it's crazy. Just absolutely crazy how flat and isolated I felt in Montana. You drive along through Kansas, there's a town every so often. Not necessarily so there in eastern Montana. I don't know about you guys, but I love lemon water, just cold, ice cold lemon water. Jay says he's from Gillette. Okay, there you go. Well, you'll know that area real well. Jay, have you? Okay, you say you know the flat side. All right. I just couldn't get over it. We rode a motorcycle across the flat side. We entered down just north of Devil's Tower, Wyoming, on the motorcycles, and I could not believe how far apart the towns were. We kind of timed our gas usage in the motorcycles. And man, oh man, you get to a town, you'd fill up with gas, you'd go on and through Miles City, and then on up to, is it Jason up there, I think, that's just south of the big lake, Fort Peck. Fort Peck is where we camped. We camped on the north side of Fort Peck. Thought it took like forever to get there. 50 miles each, yeah. I tell you, it seemed like a lot. And then came back from Fort Peck the next day, and we ended up down in south central Montana before we got to the mountains there right before the northwest part of Wyoming. I'm forgetting the names of the towns now. And I tell you guys, we're going to do some more fun flights like this. I'm still once again in the beginning stages of doing a live video stream and trying to make it interesting and make it fun. And you just sit here and do this stuff. They say, how do you get started in streaming? You just start. You just start and you play with it. You pick a subject that's interesting to you and you see who shows up. I sent out an email to a lot of people that we were going to be doing this tonight. And it may be more interesting than something you're watching on Netflix, I hope, at least as far as the aircraft goes. And especially the takeoff and prep and the landings and all of that kind of thing. But we'll keep doing this, probably one a week. Somebody had asked me how often am I going to do it. Probably one a week, and we'll see how it goes. But just for fun, I love to do this anyway. I will sit here and plan out a flight like this, and even if I'm literally during the cruise phase like this, which normally the pilots are sitting up in the cockpit, they're not really doing too terribly much of anything except some housekeeping chores maybe, and talking to ATC. In real life, the ATC feed is just pretty much non-stop, and you can see that we've been in the air 24 minutes over there on the chronometer on the left-hand side. And there's some video settings that I think that I want to change in my simulator. The MFD, well, all the detail on this screen, I'm not real happy with. I ended up the other day, over the weekend, doing some resets on the video to try to get my frame rates up. And the frame rates are great right now, but I'm not real happy with the real fuzzy detail that we're seeing there on the MFD and the PFD and the engine controls and so on and so forth. I actually have some panels popped out right here in front of me on another screen that allows me to see the detail as we're flying, and it's especially important during the takeoff and landing phases. But it's not very sharp for you guys, so we'll have to figure that out. I've also had a couple of instances where the computer and the software has done a couple of crazy things, and I think it's probably because I was fooling with the frame rates the other day. So I'll do some retuning, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the audio's better. The audio last time I thought was really, really either hot or not there. It was either too much or not enough. And I wouldn't mind if you guys commented on that in the on the chat window there. Once again, I want to say hi to my grandson, Lucas. Lucas, a special, hey, David. David's in there. Okay, he came on and said, I'm sorry, I missed that text. Hey, man, good to see you tonight. My good buddy, David Smith, went to elementary school with my good buddy, David Smith, back in Chattanooga Valley. So glad to have him on board. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send a text to him here real quick. Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't see this text until just now. I've got my headphones on, so I didn't hear my phone ding. But, man, glad to have you aboard especially. Great to have you here tonight, David. Okay, so Jay says works great when you talk into it. Okay. Yeah, even when I'm back off it a little bit, I'm hearing myself pretty well. I'm seeing the levels there on the stream board. So, all right, we'll keep fooling around with this. Looks like our weather is maybe clouding up on us a little bit. Let's go ahead and get a scan of the weather and see if we're picking anything up on the flight radar. Nope, not really. But it sure is hazy out there. All right, we're passing over southern Nebraska. We're southeast of McCook, Nebraska at this point. You know, there's a lot of times that I wish the pilots would come on and tell us where we are. You know, in real life, it would be really neat to have them on occasion. KJ says that the audio dips out when you look at other screens during takeoff landing phases. Okay, we'll see what we get tonight because I actually did do some adjusting on that. Give myself a little bit more there. Now, I realize when I look over at the right-hand screen that I'm probably going to drop off. I wish Little Nav Map would tell me more about some of the names of these features that we're flying over. Very curious to see how Microsoft Flight Simulator will render Harlan County Lake, which is right outside the town of Alma, Nebraska. Which is the feeder lake for the Republican River. There you go. How about that? I'm looking at another map here down to my lower left. Once again, if you're watching tonight, hit that thumbs up button. I really appreciate that. And let me know where you are. Jay is up in the Laramie, Wyoming area. Graham is in Scotland. Aye, laddie. Glad to have you along. And let's see, my son Lucas is in Lakewood. And I know Lucas is watching. And who else is watching? Not really sure. So if you're watching and you have the opportunity there, go ahead and let me know where you are. And I will continue to let you know where we are. Right over Beaver City, Nebraska. Or is that Kansas? You know, usually I'm a lot better with maps than this. Okay, well, we flew a little south of McCook. Yeah, there we go. There's the state line. Yeah, we're definitely in Nebraska. And I know that Harlan Lake is in Nebraska. Let's go ahead and jump outside the airplane here real quick and see if we can see that lake up there. Yep, there we go. Right off the nose. Yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator has come so very, 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 very far. One evening, we'll try to do maybe a trip in X-Plane. Pretty noisy out here. Let's go back inside. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? X-Plane 11 is absolutely amazing, and it does a lot of things very, very well. But Microsoft Flight Simulator actually pulls the scenery from Bing Maps, and is quite extraordinary at the level of detail that it'll show you. We were flying, like I said the other day, through the Arkansas Valley. In a couple of Piper Aero 3s, me and my friend Jeremy, who is a real pilot. And Jeremy, if you're watching, we were in the Arkansas Valley just today. Beautiful blue skies, everything just gorgeous, man. I was thinking I was just here yesterday or Sunday when you and I flew through there in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So very realistic. We're going to do some other little flights like that too, and some general aviation aircraft. So you'll want to hang around for that. Plus, I want to fly the 737 on to some more interesting destinations. When I get a little more proficient at all this, is streaming at the same time, I think that I want to take us on a flight from, say, Las Vegas and see the Strip to Burbank. Burbank is very difficult to fly into. As a matter of fact, I think you have to have a special rating to fly into Burbank. So that's something we'll think about doing here pretty soon. And I've kind of picked these shorter flights to do because I want to sit here and at least make some of the commentary possibly interesting as far as what we're doing. Once again, right now we are at 37,000 feet. Our airspeed is, our ground speed is 475. Our true airspeed is 449 knots. We're on a heading of 086. And we're making good time. Okay, 68 nautical miles to the top of descent. Let's zoom in on the MFD here. Yeah, I'm going to work on these graphics a little bit and see if I can get this just a little sharper. That's really, really not great. I'm not happy with that at all. So our top of descent is in green right here. You can see it's about 52 some odd miles, 65, actually 65. Yeah, these are 20-mile circular lines. We might be able to see another airplane here shortly. He's going to be off at about our 11 o'clock, so we'll keep an eye out for that traffic. I'm gonna go over here to the main traffic board that's showing up in VATSIM. A lot of flights all over the world, I might add. And it reset. I was going to look for Southwest 111, which is what we're flying tonight. Hey, there we go. I know you can't see that necessarily over there, but yeah, nice sunset, right? Let's go outside the airplane again and look behind us. We're actually flying towards the east, so that's the reflectivity of the sunlight from the west. Look at the halo around the aircraft. That's crazy wild. Yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator does some really remarkable stuff. Yeah, very rarely can you jump outside the airplane at 37,000 feet and get these kind of views, right? Okay, this is estimating us. An ETA, it says, of 0211 Zulu. Top of descent, 39 miles away. The FMC is telling us we'll be landing at 22 minutes after, so we're about a little more than a half hour, maybe about 35 minutes. This is really amazing, isn't it, as we fly into the sun's reflectivity off this layer of cloud. I've never seen anything like this in real life. Very rarely have I flown right at sunset. There's looking out the left hand of the captain's side of the aircraft, looking towards the rear. And you can see if we move our head in this direction, you can see the wing. Now, in the software, we've loaded passengers. They are not rendered in the aircraft itself. It's interesting. X-Plane 11 will put some passengers in. I wonder if they'll do that with this version. All right, the software, though, is telling us we've got 148 passengers. Yeah, they render everything very nicely, actually. We need some people in there. Okay, top of descent is 20 miles away, so we're going to start getting ready for some of our descent procedures. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look up KMCI. All right, and I'm going to look up the weather, and I'm going to get the METAR report myself. And before we hit top of descent, I'm going to go ahead and lower our altitude. In the MCP window to about 18,000 feet. All right, MCI is reading at this time winds 160 at 18, gusts to 32. This is going to be a interesting landing. It's going to be pretty stormy, it looks like. 10 statute miles visibility, scattered at 060, broken at flight level 100, overcast at 150. Altitude or altimeter is going to be 2,991. By the way, it's starting to get dark in this cockpit, isn't it? So I'm going to turn on the lights, the panel lights. Yeah, I'm going to do some adjusting in the display rendering because that is just not sharp at all. You know, guys I watch on YouTube like Captain Canada, they do this stuff so well. Very professionally. They have hundreds of viewers, not that that's necessarily necessary. But man, if you ever get a chance to watch one of Captain Canada's flights, I encourage you to do that. Guy does it so well. As a matter of fact, I think he does this for a living, actually. Okay, coming up on our top of descent as we look in the MFD, the main flight display window. And when we hit that top of descent, we're going to see our RNP values come up here on the right. Graham, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is fun. This is just fun for me. Okay, you can probably hear the engines throttling back a little bit now. We've started our descent. At that point, I'm going to go ahead and put on our fasten seatbelts to on. I'm going to have to turn up those sounds a little bit. I'm not super happy with how that is. Okay, our altimeter when we're landing is going to be 2,991. All right, our flight plan at the moment is telling us we're going to be landing on runway 01 right. So, with the winds at 160, doing a couple of calculations here. All right, it looks like we're going to need to come in on runway 19 right. So we'll do an ILS approach to 19 right. That is going to give us just a little bit of a crosswind from the left. All right, so we need to go in and we need to change ILS 19 right. And let's check our legs. One niner right. And we're going to go to our fix page. And we're going to set up some rings to help guide us in at the various points of the flight. At 10 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, and 15 miles. So it tells us we're going to hit that 15-mile ring at 15 minutes after the hour at an altitude of 9,413 feet. and so on and so forth with 10 and 5, and that'll put us on our approach. So the ILS frequencies for the ILS approach there is 109.1. Okay, ILS is set on the left-hand side. Go ahead and turn the volume on to where we can hear the CW identifier. And nav radio 2 is set to 109.1. Our approach course for 19 right is going to be 191. And we'll set that up in the first officer's window as well. And for now, I'm going to preset the heading also to 191. All right, our required navigation performance, RNP, is showing us right on the money for descent. I'm going to leave that weather radar up just to see if it brings anything up. Okay, the next thing we want to do is check our progress page, and right now we've got 19.1 thousand gallons of fuel. We'll have 18.1 at landing. Okay, we need to go ahead and turn the center tanks off for fuel. So that's set. And we still have no controllers on for Kansas City, so we'll just be doing this ourselves, pretending like we're our own controller. Graham and Jay, you are too kind. You are just too kind. I appreciate that. See some lights on the ground outside our window there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set our brakes to 3 so that we can try to stop where I would like to stop, so that we can turn off onto the taxiway to get to the terminal. There's a little sunlight behind us. Coming through 21,700 feet. We're at about 260 knots. Ground speed is 394. True air speed is 362. And Kansas City Unicom, Southwest 111, coming through 21200. Inbound for runway 19 right. Okay, unless we have to do some speed mitigation. We'll go ahead and arm the speed brakes. All right, going through the checklist here. Center fuel pumps are empty. We did that. We did the autopilot and FMC check. We're descending via RMP and looking good. ILS course and frequencies are set. Okay, so now we're going to have 0.7 700 pounds of fuel difference between what we're at now and what we'll land at. So we're going to go, let me bring this up to where you can see it. All right, so our gross weight right now is 140.7. When we land, we're going to lose that 0.7. So we're going to enter in 139 dot. Well, actually, no. Let me clear that. 140.0. We'll put that in the gross weight for landing. We're going to select our V speed of 111, flaps 30. ILS frequency and approach course is set. Glide slope, we've got it turned on. So the aircraft will follow the glide slope. Captain Canada is really good, but maybe a wee bit too professional. I don't know. He sits there and does it effortlessly. I don't know if you can see this on your screen or not, but you can see the lights of Kansas City up in the distance there. That's pretty cool. Okay, we're going to select our procedures here for 19 right. Okay, I made one error here. Need to reset the MCP altitude. We are over altitude at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and descend and get back on the RMP. Put some speed brake in so we don't gain too much speed. And it's time to hit standard altitude. Let's go ahead and check that pressure again at the airport at this time. Okay, and it's still 29901. All right, we can re-engage the VNAV. Then we're going to check our flight plan here. All right, so we're going to do a little vectoring like aircraft or air traffic control might do for us. Okay, that actually doesn't look half bad. What I'm doing is I'm looking at another chart here. Okay, we're going to need to enter the ILS at 2400, and then the next waypoint is at 1600, so I'm going to go ahead and put in 1600 in the altitude. Our headings are set, our course is set. RNP is good, flight level is good. Yeah, I'll work on this resolution for you guys for the next one. Okay, we'll continue to proceed down. Yeah, the brown smudge. Yeah, the weather's not so great. I wondered if they were going to render lightning. I haven't really seen any lightning. Okay, because I'm going to vector us in on a more direct course. Set the heading to 133. And we're going to continue our descent. Now I'm going to change course to 081. So now I'm doing the job of the air traffic controller. So we're going to be going off what the FMC is telling us, and we're going to be re-vectored. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring that course back to the right. Okay, that looks good. I'm looking at the MFD, the main flight display. And if I zoom in here, once again, sorry for the resolution, but we're going to be coming straight into runway 19er this way. So now we're bypassing the flight plan entirely, and we're getting vectored in for about a 45-degree approach on the inbound to the runway. Lucas, are you still with me? Have Mama text me. Are you still with me, Lucas? All right, let's check our descent rate. We are at coming through 11,700. Okay, what would be happening in real life in this sense is the air traffic controllers are vectoring us off for another entry point. And as you can see, we're bypassing the flight plan. And I can start to hear the CW identifier of the ILS approach to runway 19 right that we're cruising into. Kansas City Unicom, Southwest 111, vectoring in for a heading of, where am I at right now? On a heading of 124 for runway 19 right. Going to enter a direct approach at Holmes, I believe. Southwest 111. All right. There's the airport. Airport's in sight. Dim the lights a little bit. Maybe we can see things a little bit better. However, I can't really see the panel. Got to turn that back on. Okay, everything is set. Looking down through, let's go ahead and turn on our taxi lights and our landing lights, which I should have done at 10,000 feet, but we'll go ahead and do that now. We're at 9,920. Going to go ahead and change our course to where we enter the approach at Famous. And I can go ahead and re-enable the LNAV. Now the airplane is going to fly the approach course. Let's look back down at the MFD. So we're going to fly the approach course to 19 right is right here. We're flying to Famous. We're going to enter there and make a turn on the glide slope. All right, we're going to go ahead and set flaps to flaps 1. There's the runway right over there, or actually right here, I think. We'll see in a minute. And at the moment, I probably want to descend a little faster, so we're going to go ahead and descend a little bit faster. We may be too high. We are definitely too high. All right, so we're going to do a missed approach. Right there's the runway that we want to land on. So we're going to be a few minutes late landing. And being as I don't have any air traffic control, I'm being my own air traffic control. Okay, we've got another Southwest jet that's at about 9,500 feet. And I'm going to go ahead and give him plenty of room. And he just disappeared off my radar, so we'll ignore that now. All right, so I'm going to level out here at 6,000 feet. Okay, so we're going to stay here, and actually I'm going to start descending to about 4,500 feet, so we'll go ahead and lay that in and begin a descent. And what I'm going to end up doing now is I'll show you here on a little nav map. We're going to circle back. We're going to come in at the 4,000 foot altitude so that we can enter the ILS ribbon to runway 19 right. So as you can see, I'm performing the radar vectors. Oh, look at that. There's a little bit of the sunlight left up there on the horizon. Okay, so I want to come to the reciprocal heading of 190, which is going to be 280. No, wait a minute. Where am I? Sorry, folks, we're going to be a little late getting to the terminal. Aim for the bright line. Yeah, Jay, how about that? All right, let's go ahead and come to 090. Thereabouts. Okay, we're on the 15-mile marker out. And we're going to descend to 2,400 feet. Lots of city lights. You know, it's interesting. The Kansas City airport is actually about 25 miles northeast, or northwest rather, of Kansas City. It's kind of out in the boonies a little bit. Okay. Check. All right. There we go. There, the runway's off in the distance. We're at 190 knots. And I'm going to be entering the pattern at the ILS point of 2,400 feet. We're coming in on the correct entry point, which will be at about Brittany, BRT-NY. I'll have you down on the ground here. We'll only be about 5 minutes late. All right, we're going to go ahead and connect the VOR lock, which will lock us in on the ILS signal. Yeah, this is a pretty good approach. Hope you guys are enjoying the flight, especially the terminal landing phase here. It's always interesting. It's always different. All right, so our speed brakes are set and armed. We're going to call for flaps 5. And we're turning on to final approach. Kansas City Unicom, Southwest 111, turning final approach, runway 19 right. Okay, the diamonds are coming into line there on the PFD. Let's go flaps 15. Turning into the runway, looking good, coming through 2,400 feet. And the glide slope diamond is ready for approach lock. All right, everybody, enjoy the landing. Welcome to Kansas City. Landing gear down. I almost like landing at night sometimes as opposed to the daytime. It's just always really pretty. 1,000. Check. Okay, 2 red, 2 white on the pappies. Those little lights off to the side of the runway. And we'll go flaps 30. Speed to reference. Auto throttle off. I have the throttles. And I have the airplane.
300. 200.
2 red, 2 white, looking good.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Airspeed full. Airspeed full. 10.
And touchdown, reverse thrusters. All right, we'll vacate the runway. All right, very good. Good landing there. Let me go ahead and find my space where I am. By now we'd be getting traffic instructions, taxi instructions. So we're going to turn to the right here on taxiway A. All right, landing lights off. Flaps up, clean up the airplane. And we're going to turn left onto taxiway G. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kansas City. And we'll go ahead and get rid of the CW identifiers there. I was looking at the scenery a little too much. Okay, let's see. This area is not very well marked and it's dark. We'll go ahead and turn the landing lights back on. And we're going to go to Terminal B. Graham, good night. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here very much. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for traveling along with us. I'm not going to do a replay of the landing tonight. That looked pretty good from the cockpit. Actually, I didn't record it. I figured it's a night landing. It's getting kind of late. Boy, if Graham's still up with us, it's 6 hours later there in Scotland. So we'll just go in here and park and shut the airplane down. Go ahead and turn on the APUs. All right, let me get my bearings. This is a round circular airport. It's kind of weird the way it's laid out. All right, there we go. Let's see where we want to go. All right, landing lights off. Now I can see. I downloaded this software that really lights up the airport nicely. Okay, taxi lights can come off. And we'll go ahead and turn into the stand. And we don't have a marshal. All right, parking brakes on. Shock set. Go ahead and require the jetway. All right, APU is on. I'm going to go ahead and turn engines off. Okay, APU gens are on. Engines are off. Good. Leave all fuel on except the APU. And we'll go back. And now we can require the jetway. Is the jetway going to work? Request ground power. Okay, well, the jetway's not working. So we'll call for the air stairs. And here they come. All right, everybody. Well, I guess that kind of wraps it up. I'm going to have to go back and check these audio levels, but I really, really hope you enjoyed the flight. I want to thank you for being here tonight. Next week, maybe we'll do it again and try to do something a little more fun as far as that goes, but really appreciate you being here tonight. Hope you had a wonderful time. I really appreciate getting to do this with and for you. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Once again, if you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up button. And I appreciate that. And this is recorded, so we will then put it up on the YouTube channel sometime tomorrow for future viewing. But anyway, great time. Thanks so much for being here, and hope you have a really wonderful night. Thank you for flying with me, Captain Jack, and we'll look for you next time here on the channel. Look for an email announcement. If you'd like to be notified, you can go to the notifications in the KE0VH Jack channel, or you can send me an email direct, KE0VH@outlook.com, and I'll be glad to put you on the list. So with that, good night. We'll see you again. Hope you enjoyed the flight to Kansas City, and next time we'll do something else. So have a great night, and we'll see you.